Welcome back to Warforged Miniatures. Today, we're building the best Martian base you've ever seen. We're gonna make the most badass red planet this side of the galaxy. All you need to do that today is some cork, little sand, some crackle paste, some super glue, red iron oxide from Monument Hobbies, and black Vallejo paint, and the good stuff, brown iron oxide pigment powder from Vallejo. You'll also need some pigment binder and some epoxy putty. So let's get into it. All right, we are gonna start off first by just adding a little height to the base. In case you don't already know this, cork is a great way to do that. So I like to just kind of mess around a little bit, break up the cork, and kind of find a cool way to lay it down that makes it look kind of interesting and add some height while also looking natural. And once you're happy with how it looks, take some super glue and glue it all down. Next, I'm taking this epoxy putty, and I'm just gonna mix them up and fill in the gaps. I end up mixing up a little too much, so kind of put a lot on there, but it works out. And then I want to add this little demon skull right here. Just for a little interest. Kind of jam it in there, using the sculpt. And then I'll just you can take like cork, a lot of this, because it already kind of has that like rock look, and just press it in to the epoxy skull or the epoxy sculpt. That's where we're at so far. Another thing I like to do at this point is kind of place my Space Marine in the direction in which I want him to ultimately be. So I'm gonna place him where his front foot is kind of on top of the skull and his back foot is, on the back. And the nice thing about the epoxy is you can kind of press in the foot so that it leaves a little bit of a footprint, which will flatten it out and make it easy to glue him on later. So next we're just gonna wait for this to dry and then get a base coat. Next we're gonna mix up some of this crackle paste. So this is the first kind of crackle paste I've ever used before. I know Games Workshop has their own, but it's like $10 for a small pot of their crackle paste versus this whole big jar I got was $10. And the cool thing about this is you can tint it. So I tried to tint it with just some black and red to kind of make like a reddish brown color. Which doesn't end up mattering in the long run. That's why I didn't really focus on it too much, but just adding this crackle paste along there. Now, once that's dried and crackled up a bit, I want to just add a little bit of sand on there to add some more texture, kind of make it more realistic looking, more of like a dirty base, which we'll do more with the pigment powder in the future. But then after that, I just want to get a dark rust base coat on the entire the entire thing, including the skull. Now, after that point, I just mixed some red oxide and black and did a heavy dry brush over the entire thing, kind of tinting it a dark red. I accidentally paused the OBS recording, so I didn't record that, but just a heavy dry brush over everything with a dark black, except for the skull, everything with a dark black and red oxide. Now this is where the magic happens. I'm gonna add some brown iron oxide powder pigment from Vallejo. We're gonna dry brush that over the entire thing and kind of leave a couple spots with a little extra patchy stuff on there, and use a pigment binder in the end to set it in, so you'll see how that works. I really like the color this pigment brings out. It really kind of nails the Martian red planet aesthetic. It's that brown, deep, earthy, reddish color. And the cool thing about this also is if you can dry brush it onto like the boots of your Marines or whoever you're putting on this kind of base to kind of tie them into the base even better. So I really like using the pigment a lot. And now I'm just going to use a pigment binder to kind of dab it in over the parts where it piles up, and that will kind of create like a dust texture and kind of leave like piles of dust. Now after I applied the binder, I went and took some more pigment powder in the spots where I let it pool up a little bit, just so I can add more pigment powder on top and really kind of emphasize the texture, like this is where the dust piled up or the dirt or whatever. This kind of really lets you add it in everywhere. And then when you're done doing that, just kind of knock it off a little bit. You'll see me knock it down and kind of get all the excess off, and then just kind of let it dry, and that's that. Not going to go into detail on how I painted the skull, but after all of this is all said and done, I just went through and painted that, and now it's time to give you a little bit of a reveal. And that was it. I hope you liked this tutorial and that you try making this base yourself. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like this and see more bases in the future, please remember to subscribe to the channel, comment down below which base I should do next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram and send me a picture of your most recent miniature, because I'm still giving away another Struck miniature. So make sure you sign up for that. Don't miss out. Thanks again for watching, guys. You guys are the freaking best. Peace out.